I want to begin by asking you a question few ever stop to consider. Are you winning the war within yourself, or are you losing it every day without even realizing it? There is a battle raging inside your mind, silent, invisible, and relentless. It is a war between the part of you that seeks greatness and the part that fears it, between the dreams that pull you forward and the doubts that hold you back, between the life you desire and the life you accept out of habit. This is the invisible war that builds or breaks your destiny, and the victor is determined not by chance, not by luck, but by focus, self-focus. The first law of this war is simple, yet few understand it. What you focus on expands. The thoughts you entertain, the ideas you nurture, the fears you feed, they all grow stronger over time. If your mind dwells on failure, on excuses, on the obstacles you cannot yet overcome, you will find that life conspires to prove you right. If, however, you focus on your potential, on your purpose, on the vision of your ideal life, you begin to attract the people, the circumstances, and the opportunities that turn dreams into reality. Your destiny is not something you stumble upon. It is something you create by where you place your attention. The self-focus formula begins with this fundamental step, clarity of desire. You cannot direct the power of your mind if you do not know exactly what you want. A vague wish is like a ship without a rudder. It drifts aimlessly. A definite goal is like a magnet for success. Take a moment now to identify the thing you desire above all else, the dream that, if achieved, would change your life completely. Write it down. Visualize it in vivid detail. Make it so real in your mind that you can feel the satisfaction of having already attained it. Once clarity is established, the next step is belief. Desire alone is powerless. Faith is the engine that drives action. You must believe with absolute certainty that what you desire can be achieved, and that you are capable of achieving it. Faith is not passive, it is active. It is the force that propels you to take the necessary steps, even when fear, doubt, or failure looms on the horizon. Without belief, your desire remains a dream. With belief, it becomes a mission, a purpose, and ultimately a reality. But clarity and belief are not enough. You must cultivate focus. Focus is the mental discipline that keeps you on course when the world attempts to pull you in 100 different directions. Every day you are bombarded with distractions, obligations, and temptations to drift from your purpose. Every day you face the invisible forces that seek to dilute your energy, scatter your thoughts, and weaken your resolve. To succeed on purpose, you must train your mind to zero in on your objective, to filter out the noise, to give your full attention to what truly matters. The greatest achievers of history have mastered this principle. They understand that the mind, once focused, is capable of extraordinary power. Consider the inventors, the entrepreneurs, the artists, the leaders. They did not succeed because circumstances were favorable. They succeeded because they concentrated their thoughts and actions on one single aim. Your mind can do the same, but only if you command it with discipline and determination. The self-focus formula also requires control over your emotions. Every day you are confronted with challenges, setbacks, and criticism. Left unchecked, these emotional reactions can steer you off course. Anger, fear, jealousy, and frustration are like wild horses. They will run in any direction unless guided by a skilled rider. Your emotions must be harnessed to serve your purpose, not sabotage it. Learn to respond, not react. Learn to control the inner dialogue that either strengthens or undermines your focus. Mastery of emotion is mastery of self, and mastery of self is the foundation of achieving your dreams. Another essential component of the formula is the elimination of negative influences. Surroundings, habits, and associations shape your thinking, often more than you realize. The people you spend the most time with, the media you consume, the conversations you entertain, all these inputs either reinforce your vision or weaken it. To win the invisible war, you must consciously select the influences in your life that uplift, inspire, and propel you toward your goals. If you feed your mind with negativity, pessimism, and doubt, you will harvest failure. If you feed it with hope, determination, and success-oriented thinking, you will reap achievement. Now let us address the challenge of resistance. Every great goal is met with resistance, external and internal. The world tests your resolve, but more dangerously, your own mind tests it. Fear whispers, "You cannot do this." Doubt whispers, "You are not ready." Procrastination whispers, "Tomorrow is better." These are the invisible armies aligned against you. To achieve your dreams, you must recognize them, confront them, and march forward regardless. This is not recklessness. It is disciplined courage, the kind that builds character, resilience, and unstoppable momentum. An often overlooked weapon in the self, focus formula is the power of visualization. See your success in the mind's eye as clearly as if it were already accomplished. Imagine the feeling of holding your dreams, of stepping into the life you desire. Create the sensory experience in vivid detail. What you see, hear, touch, even smell. Visualization trains your subconscious mind to recognize opportunities and solutions that align with your objective. The subconscious does not distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is real. It simply responds to dominant thoughts. Feed it with the image of your success, and it will work tirelessly to bring that image into physical reality. Equally critical is the principle of taking consistent action. Focus, belief, and visualization are powerful, but they cannot replace action. Dreams without effort remain fantasies. The self-focus formula is not about idle daydreaming. It is about deliberate, persistent effort in alignment with your purpose. Action creates momentum, and momentum generates results. Every step you take, no matter how small, is a brick in the foundation of your destiny. You must also understand the role of adversity. The invisible war is often most intense when you face difficulty. Obstacles, delays, and failures are not signs that you should quit. They are signals that you are growing, that your purpose is being tested. Every setback contains a lesson, an opportunity to refine your strategy, strengthen your resolve, and develop the skills necessary for ultimate victory. Those who succeed are not those who avoid adversity. They are those who embrace it, learn from it, and let it forge their character. Let us not forget the principle of persistence. Focus alone is not enough if it is fleeting. Persistence is the engine that drives the self-focus formula. It is the refusal to quit, to compromise, to accept mediocrity. It is the willingness to endure, to continue, to rise after every fall. The man or woman who persists in the face of obstacles becomes invincible. Not because life is easy, but because the mind has been trained to persevere. Persistence transforms failure into experience, struggle into skill, and effort into achievement. Another dimension of the self-focus formula is self-discipline. Your mind, left unchecked, will drift toward comfort, distraction, and avoidance. Greatness is never achieved by yielding to impulses or succumbing to convenience. It is achieved by controlling your thoughts, your habits, and your daily routine so that every action aligns with your ultimate goal. Self-discipline is the bridge between intention and accomplishment, the silent force that converts desire into results. Equally important is the habit of continuous learning. The world is constantly changing, and those who fail to adapt are left behind. To achieve your dreams, you must constantly expand your knowledge, sharpen your skills, and remain open to new ideas. Learning is not a temporary phase. It is a lifelong commitment. The more you learn, the more your mind can innovate, problem solve, and capitalize on opportunities. Every lesson you absorb, every insight you gain, becomes ammunition in the invisible war for your destiny. The self-focus formula also includes the strategic use of your imagination. Imagination is not mere fantasy. It is the workshop of creation. Every invention, every breakthrough, every act of leadership begins as a mental construct. When you combine imagination with definiteness of purpose, belief, focus, and action, you create solutions that others cannot see. Imagination, directed by focus, allows you to overcome limitations, devise strategies, and anticipate opportunities before they arrive. Another critical factor is accountability. You must hold yourself responsible for your progress. No one else can fight this invisible war for you. Excuses, blame, and avoidance have no place in the life of someone committed to achieving their dreams. Each day presents a choice to act in alignment with your purpose or to surrender to distraction. By holding yourself accountable, by measuring progress, by adjusting your strategy, you maintain control of your destiny. And finally, the self-focus formula demands grateful awareness. Gratitude shifts your mind from lack to abundance, from complaint to possibility. By focusing on what you already have and appreciating the steps you are taking, you cultivate a mental environment that attracts more of what you desire. Gratitude amplifies focus because it strengthens positive thoughts, reinforces belief, and keeps your energy directed toward creation rather than complaint. So, my friend, understand this: the invisible war is real. It is fought daily in your mind, in your habits, in the choices you make. It will either build you or break you. Those who understand the self-focus formula Clarity of desire, belief, focus, emotional control, elimination of negative influences, resilience, visualization, action, persistence, discipline, learning, imagination, accountability, and gratitude will harness their inner power and achieve their dreams. Those who neglect it will find themselves drifting, defeated, and unfulfilled, wondering why life seems to happen to them rather than through them. But the choice is yours. Every moment you decide where to place your attention, every thought you cultivate, every action you take in alignment with your dreams or against them, you are either advancing toward greatness or retreating from it. This is the invisible war, and it is invisible only to those who refuse to see it. To those who choose to see, to focus, and to act, it becomes the most powerful ally on the path to achievement. Few truths in life are as important, yet as overlooked, as this: there is a war raging inside you. It is silent, it is invisible, it is relentless, and it is far more decisive in shaping your destiny than any external circumstance, any competition, or any obstacle you will ever face. This war begins the moment you are born, and it will continue until the moment you die. It is the struggle between the part of you that strives for greatness and the part of you that succumbs to fear, doubt, and inertia. It is the struggle between your dreams and your excuses, between your highest potential and the comfort of mediocrity. The invisible war within is the ultimate battleground, and its outcome determines whether you build a life of success, purpose, and fulfillment, or one of regret, unfulfilled potential, and wasted years. To understand this war, you must first understand the nature of the mind. The mind is a powerful instrument capable of creating reality itself. Every thought you entertain, every emotion you nurture, and every belief you hold shapes the circumstances of your life. If your mind is filled with doubt, fear, and indecision, it will attract circumstances that reflect those inner states. If your mind is filled with clarity, faith, and purpose, it will attract opportunities, resources, and solutions that others overlook. This is not magic, it is law. It is the law of cause and effect applied to the human mind. The invisible war within is fought on this battlefield of thought, and the victor is determined by which side you feed and strengthen. The first principle of this war is self-awareness. You cannot fight an enemy you do not see. Most people go through life unaware of the constant struggle taking place within their own consciousness. They allow every passing thought, every fleeting emotion, to direct their decisions, unaware that they are surrendering control of their destiny. Self-awareness is the act of observing your thoughts, recognizing the patterns of doubt, fear, and procrastination, and understanding how these mental habits shape your results. The moment you recognize the war within, you gain the first advantage in knowledge, and knowledge applied with discipline becomes power. Once you are aware of this battle, the next step is recognizing the stakes. The invisible war is not a trivial skirmish. Its consequences are monumental. Every day you fail to take control of your thoughts, every moment you allow negative emotions to dominate, you weaken your ability to achieve your dreams. Your potential diminishes, your opportunities pass by unnoticed, and your inner critic grows stronger. Conversely, every time you consciously choose to focus on empowering thoughts, to respond with courage, and to act with determination, you gain strength. You move closer to your purpose, and your dreams begin to take shape. Understanding the stakes of this internal conflict instills a sense of urgency and focus that can change the trajectory of your life. A critical element in this war is the battle against fear. Fear is the invisible general of your inner enemy. It appears in many forms: fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown, fear of loss. Fear convinces you to settle for less than you are capable of, to avoid challenges, to procrastinate, and to conform. It whispers, "You cannot," when your higher self knows you can. To fight this fear, you must first name it, recognize its influence, and confront it directly. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the mastery of it. The person who conquers fear within becomes unstoppable outside. Another front in the invisible war is the struggle against doubt and indecision. Doubt is the corrosive agent that erodes confidence and weakens resolve. Indecision is the paralysis that prevents action. Every great achievement in history began with a decisive action by someone who refused to let doubt dictate their course. The moment you decide, your mind begins to align itself with solutions, resources, and allies. Indecision, on the other hand, allows the enemy to gain ground. By training yourself to make clear, purposeful decisions and to act immediately, you reclaim control over your inner battlefield. Equally important is the war against negative emotions. Anger, resentment, jealousy, impatience, and despair are all agents of your inner adversary. They cloud judgment, weaken resolve, and drain energy. Every emotion you indulge shapes your mental climate and affects the quality of your decisions. To win the invisible war, you must cultivate emotional intelligence. Recognize your feelings, understand their origin, and redirect their energy toward constructive action. Learn to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Emotional mastery turns potential sabotage into fuel for growth. The invisible war is fought not only through awareness and control, but through focus of thought. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant, water, and nurture will grow. If you allow fears, doubts, and distractions to dominate, they will take root and flourish, choking out your dreams. If, however, you consciously plant thoughts of purpose, belief, creativity, and persistence, you cultivate a mental landscape that attracts opportunity and fosters success. The person who controls their focus controls their destiny. Every day, you must decide where your attention will go and guard it fiercely against the intrusions that dilute your power. One of the most powerful weapons in this war is the practice of visualization. The mind does not distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is real. When you see yourself succeeding, achieving your goals, and living your purpose with clarity and emotion, your subconscious mind begins to recognize opportunities and solutions that align with that vision. Visualization strengthens belief, guides decision-making, and fuels persistence. It transforms abstract dreams into tangible realities by giving your mind a clear, compelling target to pursue. Another crucial element is persistence in the face of setbacks. The invisible war is most intense when challenges arise. The enemy often appears strongest when you are on the verge of breakthrough. Setbacks are inevitable, obstacles will emerge, and circumstances will test your resolve. Persistence is the weapon that allows you to endure. It is the refusal to quit, the determination to rise again after every fall, and the relentless pursuit of purpose despite temporary defeat. Those who persevere transform every challenge into an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more capable. The battle also involves self-discipline and habit formation. Your mind and body are governed by habits. Without conscious control, they will follow the path of least resistance, which often leads to mediocrity. Self-discipline allows you to cultivate habits that support your purpose and to eliminate those that serve the enemy. Discipline is not punishment. It is the intentional alignment of your daily actions with your long-term goals. Through discipline, your mind becomes a fortress, resilient against distraction, temptation, and doubt. The invisible war is also fought through learning from failure. Every defeat, every mistake, every misstep carries within it a lesson. The person who sees failure as final is defeated before the battle begins. The person who sees failure as feedback gains an advantage. By analyzing setbacks, adjusting strategies, and applying lessons learned, you transform temporary losses into long-term gains. The enemy thrives on discouragement, but the victorious mind turns setbacks into stepping stones toward mastery. Influence of environment and association is another key factor. You cannot fully control the world around you, but you can control what you allow into your inner sphere. The people you associate with, the media you consume, the habits you maintain, they all influence the state of your mind. Surround yourself with those who inspire, challenge, and support your growth. Limit exposure to those who drain energy, plant doubt, or encourage complacency. Your inner war is affected as much by your environment as by your thoughts, and controlling it strengthens your position on every front. The invisible war also demands strategic planning and action. Thoughts alone will not win the battle. You must translate your purpose, clarity, and focus into deliberate action. Each day, each hour, each decision must move you closer to your goals. Momentum is built through consistent, purposeful action. The mind, once focused, begins to attract resources and solutions, but only if you act. Idle contemplation strengthens the enemy. Deliberate action strengthens the victor. Gratitude and positive reinforcement are subtle but powerful weapons in this internal conflict. By focusing on what you already have and appreciating small victories along the way, you shift your mental environment from scarcity to abundance. Gratitude strengthens belief, reinforces focus, and fuels persistence. It is a shield against discouragement and negativity, providing the emotional energy required to continue the fight when the world seems to conspire against you. Another often overlooked aspect is imagination and creative problem solving. The invisible enemy thrives on perceived limitations. When you encounter obstacles, your mind may tell you the task is impossible. But through imagination, you can conceive solutions, discover alternative paths, and innovate where others see dead ends. Creativity is not luxury, it is necessity. It allows you to outmaneuver the internal forces of fear, doubt, and indecision. The more vividly you imagine, the more effectively you can act. The battle also requires measured risk-taking. The inner war is reinforced by hesitation and overcaution. Great achievement demands action beyond comfort zones. Calculated risks, when aligned with purpose and guided by focus, serve as accelerators in the pursuit of dreams. The person who never risks remains trapped in mediocrity, while the person who risks intelligently expands their influence, their skills, and their opportunities. Courage is not absence of fear. It is the willingness to act despite fear. Continuous learning and adaptation is another essential front. The invisible enemy thrives on stagnation. Knowledge, skill, and adaptability are the armor that protects your mind and strengthens your strategy. Seek out new insights, challenge assumptions, and refine your approach. The mind that evolves cannot be defeated by routine setbacks or predictable obstacles. By remaining a student of life, you ensure that your mental and emotional resources remain sharp, responsive, and aligned with your purpose. Finally, the invisible war is fought through commitment to a definite purpose. All the strategies, techniques, and practices are meaningless without a central aim. Your purpose is the anchor that gives direction to thought, meaning to effort, and energy to persistence. Without it, you drift. With it, you move with unstoppable momentum. The invisible war becomes winnable when your mind, heart, and actions are aligned with a clearly defined objective that you pursue with unshakable determination. This internal conflict, the invisible war within, is the ultimate test of character. The person who understands it, engages it deliberately, and masters it becomes the architect of their destiny. Every thought, every choice, every action contributes to either victory or defeat. The person who loses this war is not defeated by the world. They are defeated by themselves. The person who wins it is not simply lucky. They are deliberate, disciplined, and focused. They harness their mind as a weapon, transform fear into courage, doubt into faith, and adversity into opportunity. Most people never achieve what they dream of simply because they lack clarity. They desire many things vaguely, but they desire nothing specifically. They float through life thinking, hoping, wishing, but never deciding with conviction what it is they truly want. Such a person is like a sailor on the open sea with no destination marked on the map. The winds may carry him along, but they will carry him nowhere of value. He may arrive somewhere, but it will not be where he intended. It will not be the place he would have chosen had he taken command of the helm. Clarity of desire begins with a simple, yet profound step defining exactly what you want. This is not a casual wish or a fleeting thought. It is a precise statement of intent, a declaration that leaves no room for ambiguity. I want to be wealthy is not definite. I want to earn $100,000 a year within the next 3 years by operating a business that helps small companies double their sales is definite. The first statement is a hope. The second is a weapon. One can guide you. The other will do nothing but occupy space in your mind. The difference between vague desires and definite desires is more than semantics. It is the difference between passivity and action, between dreaming and achieving. The mind, like any machine, requires a clear directive. It cannot work efficiently without a precise objective. When you know exactly what you want, your subconscious mind begins to operate like a magnet, attracting ideas, resources, and opportunities that align with your aim. Your thoughts become purposeful. Your actions become deliberate. Your energy is concentrated instead of diffused. This is why clarity of desire is called the first weapon. It is the point of power from which all results are launched. But clarity of desire alone is not enough. It must be written and reinforced daily. I have observed in my studies of successful men and women that they always keep their goals in front of them. They write them, read them, and visualize them constantly. The written word acts as a signal to the subconscious mind. It programs your mental faculties to recognize opportunities that others overlook. It reminds you of your purpose when doubt or distraction tries to claim your attention. In this sense, clarity of desire is not a static thing. It is a living, breathing force that grows stronger every time you reinforce it. To sharpen this weapon, you must also understand why you want it. Desire without reason is unstable. It is subject to the whims of emotion, the pressures of circumstance, and the influence of others. But a desire rooted in purpose, anchored in your deepest values, your strongest ambitions, and your authentic self, cannot be shaken. When your mind knows not only what it wants, but why it wants it, you gain resilience, persistence, and focus. You gain the power to move forward when obstacles loom, when others doubt, and when fear whispers that you cannot succeed. Fear is the greatest enemy of clarity. Doubt clouds judgment. Hesitation diffuses energy, and indecision paralyzes action. A man who has not defined his purpose precisely will find himself trapped in a cycle of procrastination, constantly waiting for the right moment. That never comes. But the person who wields clarity of desire as a weapon acts immediately, decisively, and relentlessly. He does not wait for circumstances to align. He creates the alignment himself by acting in harmony with his definite aim. Clarity of desire also demands focus on a single chief aim. Many people dilute their efforts by trying to pursue several objectives at once. They want wealth, health, recognition, travel, and influence all at the same time with equal intensity. But the human mind, though powerful, cannot direct maximum energy in multiple directions simultaneously. It disperses its force and achieves little. Concentration is the companion of clarity. Focus on one dominant aim until it is achieved, and the mind will naturally attract the means to attain it. Let us consider the science behind this. The mind responds to clear, dominant thoughts. The subconscious, which governs your habits, decisions, and creative insights, does not differentiate between what is real and what is vividly imagined. If you repeatedly feed your subconscious with the image of your definite aim, it will act to bring that image into reality. Your ideas, your choices, your intuition all begin to align with your desire. The world seems to conspire in your favor, not because of magic, but because your mental energy has been concentrated, organized, and directed with precision. Clarity of desire also acts as a filter for opportunity. Every day, you are confronted with choices, invitations, and possibilities. Many of these may seem appealing, but only those that align with your definite aim are worth pursuing. The rest are distractions, and they will drain your energy if entertained. A man or woman with clarity of purpose says, yes, only to what moves them forward, and no, to what does not. This skill of discernment is not accidental. It is cultivated through the discipline of a defined aim. Every decision is measured against it. Every action is judged by it. Every alliance is formed with it in mind. Now, it is important to recognize that clarity of desire is not static. It is refined over time. As you grow, learn, and achieve, your aims may evolve. What once inspired you may no longer satisfy. To remain effective, your weapon must be sharpened continually. Revisit your purpose regularly. Review your goals. Adjust your details. Keep your vision vivid and compelling. This is not indecision. It is wisdom. A sharp weapon is far more effective than a dull one, and a well-honed desire produces results that endure. A critical aspect of clarity is emotional attachment. Your desire must move you at a deep level, stirring passion, excitement, and even discomfort. Desire that does not provoke action is weak. It is the heat of passion, combined with the precision of clarity, that turns thought into force. This emotional energy propels you forward when challenges arise. It motivates you to learn new skills, to seek guidance, to take risks, and to persist beyond the limits of ordinary endurance. Without emotional charge, clarity remains theoretical. With it, clarity becomes unstoppable. I have observed, time and again, that those who fail to achieve their dreams often do so because they lack a written statement of their aim, reinforced with belief and emotion. They think, I want success, or I want happiness. But these vague statements are too feeble to command the power of the mind. The act of writing your aim, reading it daily, and meditating on it transforms it from a wish into a mission. This is the first act of self-mastery, the first strike in the invisible war for your destiny. Clarity of desire also requires patience and timing. Do not confuse the absence of immediate results with failure. Your aim may require months, years, or even decades to manifest fully. Yet if you keep your desire definite and your mind focused, the invisible forces within you and around you begin to move in alignment with your goal. Your intuition becomes sharper. Your decisions become more accurate. Opportunities begin to appear that you would have otherwise overlooked. Time becomes your ally rather than your enemy. Another aspect of this principle is the combination of imagination and specificity. It is not enough to say, I want to be wealthy, or I want to be recognized. You must describe the result in detail, the exact income, the environment, the lifestyle, the impact you wish to have. When your imagination is clear and precise, your subconscious mind begins to generate ideas, solutions, and connections that move you toward that reality. The more vivid the picture, the more your mind will act to achieve it. Clarity of desire is also your shield against negativity. Every great ambition will encounter skeptics, critics, and those who doubt your ability. When your aim is clear, your belief strong, and your focus unwavering, the doubts of others cannot sway you. You become impervious to the opinions of those who lack vision. You are not arrogant. You are determined. You are not blind. You are focused. And this inner strength is cultivated only through the clarity of your desire. Furthermore, clarity of desire cultivates decision-making speed. The more definite your purpose, the faster and more accurate your choices. A man who knows precisely where he is going does not hesitate. He does not waste time on indecision. He evaluates opportunities in light of his aim and acts swiftly. Speed of execution is one of the silent advantages that separates those who succeed from those who merely dream. The final component of this weapon is persistence fueled by clarity. Every dream will be tested. Obstacles will arise. Failures will challenge your resolve. But when your aim is precise, your desire emotional, and your belief unwavering, you persist. You adapt, you learn, and you advance. Clarity of desire provides the compass, the engine, and the fuel for your journey. Without it, you wander. With it, you cannot fail, except by abandoning the pursuit yourself. The principle I am about to discuss is the invisible spark that transforms ordinary men and women into forces of unstoppable achievement. It is simple in concept, yet profound in its impact. It is the idea that belief ignites action, that what you truly believe shapes the reality you create. Desire alone is insufficient. Planning alone is ineffective. Dreams, no matter how vivid, remain unrealized until they are fueled by belief, an unwavering, unshakable, all-consuming conviction that you can and will succeed. Belief is the engine. Action is the vehicle. And without belief, your vehicle never leaves the driveway. Too many people live in a world of half-belief. They hope, they wish, they imagine, yet deep down they entertain doubts and fears. These doubts are fatal. They act as invisible chains, binding the mind and paralyzing the will. You may want success. You may even want it desperately. But if you do not believe it is possible, your mind will find reasons why it cannot be done, why it is too difficult, why someone else is better, stronger, or more deserving. The human mind, once conditioned by doubt, becomes a factory for excuses. Every hesitation, every delay, every act of procrastination stems from the absence of belief. Belief is not a passive feeling. It is an active force. It is a commitment you make to your own mind that the goal you pursue is inevitable, that failure is only temporary, and that you possess the resources, ingenuity, and perseverance to overcome any obstacle. It is this commitment that ignites action. A man or woman who truly believes moves differently. They act decisively. They move swiftly. They are not deterred by criticism, by fear, or by uncertainty. Their belief charges every step they take, every decision they make, every challenge they face. Consider this. Every invention, every enterprise, every achievement in human history began in the mind of a person who believed something others deemed impossible. The Wright brothers believed man could fly when countless voices said it could not be done. Thomas Edison believed he could harness electricity for practical use when others doubted it would ever be possible. Henry Ford believed he could build a car affordable to the masses when skeptics laughed at the idea. In every case, belief preceded action. Without belief, these men would have never taken the painstaking steps required to bring their dreams into reality. Belief is the soil from which action grows, the invisible force that transforms vision into effort. But how does one cultivate belief? Many wait for confidence to appear spontaneously, for inspiration to strike like lightning, for certainty to arrive as if delivered from the heavens. This is folly. Belief is not a gift. It is a skill, cultivated deliberately through repeated affirmation by discipline, and by immersion in thought and experience aligned with your goal. Begin by feeding your mind with proof, examples, and knowledge that reinforce the possibility of your success. Focus multiplies your power. Let me say that again because the truth is so profound and yet so often overlooked. Focus multiplies your power. Every man and woman who has ever risen above mediocrity, every inventor, entrepreneur, artist, leader, and visionary discovered this principle. They understood that talent alone, knowledge alone, or even desire alone is not enough. It is the ability to direct all mental, emotional, and physical resources toward a single aim, persistently and consistently, that transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results. Focus is the multiplier. Focus turns potential into achievement. Focus converts thought into action and action into accomplishment. Think for a moment about the world's most successful people. Do you believe they achieved greatness by scattering their energy across 100 competing interests? Do you think a man like Thomas Edison, with his thousands of inventions, or Henry Ford, who transformed transportation, or even someone like Oprah Winfrey, who built an empire, achieved their success by attempting to do many things half-heartedly? No, they focused. They narrowed their vision until it became as sharp and precise as a blade, cutting through obstacles and resistance with an unstoppable force. The human mind is capable of phenomenal power, but it is easily distracted. A mind divided cannot accomplish anything of significance. Every hour, every day, you are bombarded with thoughts, information, and stimuli that pull you in multiple directions. Some of these are necessary, but many are destructive to your highest purpose. Your mind, when scattered, is like water poured into the sand. It disappears without leaving an effect. But when it is focused, it becomes a stream powerful enough to carve valleys, to turn turbines, to irrigate entire fields of possibility. Focus is not merely the act of concentrating your attention on a task. It is a deliberate, disciplined alignment of your thoughts, emotions, and actions toward your most important objective. It requires that you decide with unshakable certainty what matters most, and then reject everything that does not serve that purpose. The ability to say no to distractions, to the trivial, to the easy pleasures that do not advance your goal is perhaps the greatest single determinant of success. Every no you utter to the unimportant is a yes to your purpose. Let us examine the principle more deeply. Focus multiplies your power by conserving and directing your energy. Energy is finite, whether mental, emotional, or physical. When it is scattered, it produces little effect, but when it is concentrated on a single target, it magnifies results exponentially. Consider a magnifying glass held under the sun. When the rays are dispersed, they provide light, but no heat. When focused, they generate fire. So too with your mind, focused attention generates the heat, the energy, the force that ignites action and produces achievement. The ability to focus also sharpens your perception. When your mind is committed to a clear purpose, you begin to notice opportunities that others overlook. You see solutions where others see problems. You hear ideas where others hear noise. You begin to attract resources, people, and circumstances aligned with your goal. This is no accident. It is the law of cause and effect in action. Your focused mind emits a signal, a kind of mental frequency, that draws to you the elements necessary to achieve your purpose. Focus is also the antidote to procrastination. One of the greatest enemies of achievement is indecision, hesitation, and delay. When your attention is divided, when your mind flits from one thought to another, it creates confusion, overwhelm, and ultimately inaction. But when your focus is single, directed, and unwavering, the fog of indecision lifts. You know exactly what to do, when to do it, and why it matters. Clarity of action becomes inevitable, because the mind is no longer caught in a whirlpool of distractions. Now, focus does not happen by accident. It is a skill that must be deliberately cultivated. First, you must identify your chief aim, your single most important goal. Without a destination, focus is impossible. Once you know where you are going, you must organize your environment, your time, and your habits to support that aim. Eliminate distractions wherever possible. Guard your time and attention as though they were the most precious currency on earth, because they are. Every hour spent on what does not serve your goal is an hour stolen from your destiny. Discipline is essential to focus. The mind naturally resists sustained attention. It craves novelty. It seeks comfort. It fears effort. The difference between those who achieve and those who merely dream lies in the ability to direct the mind consistently, even when it rebels. Every day, you must choose to return your attention to your purpose, to redirect your thoughts when they wander, to resist the temptation of fleeting pleasures or distractions. This repeated exercise of willpower strengthens focus, and like a muscle, it grows with use. One of the most powerful ways to develop focus is through routine and ritual. The mind thrives on structure. When you build habits that prioritize your highest objectives, you reduce the need to fight distraction constantly. A morning routine of planning, visualization, and prioritized action, for example, sets the tone for the entire day. It is the deliberate programming of your mind to align with your purpose. The more automatic your habits support your goal, the more energy remains for creative thought, strategy, and high-impact action. Focus multiplies power not only by directing energy, but also by amplifying learning. The human brain retains knowledge and skills more efficiently when attention is concentrated. If you scatter your efforts across multiple pursuits without depth, mastery is impossible. But if you concentrate on one domain, immersing yourself fully, your understanding deepens, your intuition sharpens, and your creativity flourishes. Focus transforms effort into expertise, and expertise multiplies your influence and results. Consider for a moment the great innovators and leaders. They did not succeed because they tried to do everything. They succeeded because they chose one path and walked it relentlessly. Edison focused on invention. Carnegie focused on steel. Ford focused on revolutionizing transportation. Every act, every thought, every choice supported that focus. And because their power was concentrated, the results were multiplied far beyond what ordinary effort could produce. Focus also strengthens persistence. A scattered mind becomes easily discouraged. A focused mind sees obstacles as temporary challenges, tests of strategy, or opportunities to adapt. When you know exactly what you are working toward, failure loses its power to demoralize you. Each setback becomes a stepping stone, each difficulty an opportunity to refine your approach. Persistence, fueled by focus, becomes almost unstoppable. The mind, when properly focused, can also harness the power of the subconscious. Thoughts repeated and nurtured over time penetrate the subconscious and shape your beliefs, expectations, and habits. A focused mind feeds the subconscious with the image of success, the certainty of achievement, and the unwavering belief in your ability to reach your goal. The subconscious, in turn, begins to organize your behaviors, ideas, and perceptions to make that success inevitable. Another critical aspect of focus is emotional alignment. Your energy is strongest when your emotions, thoughts, and actions are all directed toward the same objective. Doubt, fear, anger, or indecision disperses energy. Enthusiasm, confidence, and conviction concentrate it. Emotional intensity, when harnessed through focus, acts like a furnace, generating the heat and power necessary to overcome obstacles and seize opportunities. Focus multiplies power also by creating momentum. Every focused action builds upon the last. Small, deliberate steps accumulate, compounding into significant results. In contrast, scattered action produces minimal impact. Think of a river abroad. Shallow stream spreads water thinly and slowly, producing little effect. A narrow, deep channel concentrates the flow, cutting through rock, powering mills, and sustaining life. Focus is that channel for your energy. It concentrates your efforts into unstoppable momentum. Now, there is a subtle principle at work here that is often missed. Focus clarifies values and priorities. When you direct your attention to one clear purpose, everything else becomes secondary. Decisions that once seemed difficult become obvious. Choices that once seemed overwhelming become simple. The mind can weigh alternatives efficiently, conserve energy, and act decisively. Focus creates clarity not only in action but in thought. But let us be honest, focus is not easy. The world conspires against it. Social media, television, emails, competing responsibilities, and even well-meaning friends pull at your attention constantly. Without vigilance, your focus will drift, your energy will scatter, and your results will be mediocre. Protect your focus as fiercely as you protect your health or wealth, because it is more powerful than both combined. There is also a law of reciprocity at work. The more focused you are, the more opportunities will appear. The mind begins to notice connections, patterns, and possibilities that remain invisible to the unfocused. Synchronicity, insight, and creative solutions emerge naturally because the mind is tuned to the wavelength of purpose. Focus becomes not only a tool of effort, but also a magnet for opportunity. To achieve mastery of focus, you must practice single tasking, not multitasking. The modern world glorifies business, but business is not power. It is scattered energy. True achievement comes from sustained, undivided attention on one high-priority task until it is complete. Single tasking allows depth, quality, and efficiency. It allows the mind to enter a state of flow where creativity and productivity multiply. Focus is the key that unlocks this state. Focus also requires reflection and review, daily assessment of your actions, alignment with your goals, and adjustment of strategy ensures that your attention remains on the highest value activities. Reflection prevents drift, strengthens discipline, and maintains momentum. The most effective people are not those who merely act. They are those who act with purpose, evaluate, and refine constantly. Finally, understand this. Focus is not a limit. It is a liberator. It does not restrict your abilities, it amplifies them. By concentrating your mind, you increase your effectiveness, sharpen your insight, and accelerate your progress. Focus multiplies your power because it converts intention into reality, thought into action, and action into achievement. And so, if you wish to rise above mediocrity, to claim the life you were meant to live, to achieve your greatest dreams, you must learn to focus. You must direct every ounce of mental, emotional, and physical energy toward your purpose. You must eliminate distractions, resist the allure of the trivial, and cultivate habits, rituals, and discipline that support unwavering attention. Focus is the bridge between desire and accomplishment, the channel through which the power of your mind flows into the world, creating results far greater than the sum of your efforts.